Smile, be, chat, join for networking.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I am Simon Hunt and I am the cage fighting accountant. I got this nickname a couple of years ago. I'm not sure why, but I think it's got something to do with this. So that is me. I do prefer it on top. That's the best joke. Anyway, okay. Yeah, so I'm much younger, much thinner, before Adam says anything, and much fitter. And it's about 2007 and 2008, and I was a competitive MMA fighter. So for those of you who don't know what MMA is, I'll just go through it very, very quickly. MMA stands for Mixed Martial Arts. It got started in the early 90s with events like the Ultimate Fighting Championship and the UFC. And I was a pretty good amateur, not such a great semi-pro, and I'll talk all about that now. So in MMA, there are three phases of combat, okay? When the fight starts, you all start in the same place, that is across the cage from your opponent, and you're in the freestanding phase. And you come out, hands up, like the stance, yeah. Okay, hands up, and it looks very much like a boxing/kickboxing match. As soon as you get close enough and start grabbing hold of each other, you enter into the second phase, which is the clinch phase. And finally, when the fight goes to the ground, like the name says on the tin, you enter the ground phase, okay? So there's quite a lot that can go on. You can win by knockout, you can win by judge's decision, and you can win by submission. Now, a submission is a hold like an arm lock, a leg lock, or a choke, and that is my bag, baby, okay? That's what I do, that's my thing, okay? But, so there's lots and lots of things you need to know. It's a really, really diverse skill set. So you need to know how to box. You need to know how to do kicks and knees and elbows, so you need to know Muay Thai. You need to know how to wrestle, and I'm not talking about WWE wrestling, I'm talking about Olympic, Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling. And you also need to know Jiu-Jitsu for when the fight goes to the ground and for the submission holds. And that's my bag, okay? That is my background. I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor and I ran my own club for a long, long time. So these different skills you need, okay, you could study each of them individually for a lifetime and still not master them, especially boxing, okay, especially boxing, but you have to study each of them. And what we find with fighters, you have somebody who tries to do everything and become the jack of all trades, master of none. Usually you have someone who is really good in one area and has to master the basics of the others. So I am not a boxer, but I know how to box, okay? My whole strategy was to trade punches with someone for a little while, close the distance, take them down, and try and pull their arm off, okay? As an amateur, it was pretty good. In 2007, I got to the quarterfinals of a nationally ranked amateur competition, and off the back of that, I made the decision to have a go at semi-professional. Now, at the time, I ran my own club, I taught the classes, I trained other fighters, I put them through training camp, I match made, I was also working full time, my wife and I just had a little boy, so to say I was spread pretty thin is a fair understatement. Now people ask me why MMA? Why would you do that? I'm sure you get a similar question. Okay, I'm not a thug, honest, I'm not a thug, but as someone who's been doing martial arts since they were 14, I did want to know whether what I was learning would actually work in a live situation. And I wasn't about to go into town on Friday and start punching people, okay? So I decided to compete, okay? And I really got into the whole competitive side of the sport. I really liked the athleticism, the fitness side of it, the clean diet. I know that doesn't show anymore, but that's a different story. Okay. And the most important thing is I made that decision to compete. And if you are going to make that decision, it's the same as when you go into business, you have to be all in. You can't half-ass that. That's a decision you make and you've got to be in 100%, okay? Now, when I decided to go semi-professional, what you need to do is you get in touch with a promoter and you get your match made, okay? So there was me, there was two other guys in my team, and we went went in contact with the promoter and were offered opponents. Now, me being also an accountant, a largely analytical brain, honestly, you get offered opponents and you do your analysis and you do your due diligence, if you like. So my fighter Luke, we got offered a guy, research how many bouts has he had, how does he win, How does he lose? Because that will give us a chance for a game plan. Is he the sort of person who is the right sort of level to be fighting Luke? Yes, great, matched. John, same thing. Is he the right type of guy? You don't want somebody who is way out of John's league, and you certainly don't want someone who is not there. That does not make a good bout. And as a responsible fighter, coach, manager, whatever, you need to make sure you get the right match. Okay? Sounds a little bit like business, doesn't it, really? Match John. My fighter comes up. Good amateur record, couple of semi-professional fighters, grappler like me, perfect. We'll take him. Match is made. And as soon as you make the match, that is when the fight starts. And that is like 6 weeks out. And that's when you get your first blast of adrenaline, and it doesn't go away. It comes and it goes, but it's always there. And then you enter into your training camp. So again, just to recap, I'm running the show. I am the coach. I'm coaching myself. I don't have my own coach, okay? And we enter into training camp, and what you start doing, getting yourself really fit, really watching your diet. For me, my diet was vegetables and chicken. In fact, I almost looked like a chicken breast, the amount of chicken I ate. That's probably really bad. So, but to get the weight down. The next thing, you're running, you're doing your circuit training, you're doing your sparring. And we did, when we sparred, we did things called shark tanks. So semi-professional MMA bout is 2 5-minute rounds. And you get 3 sparring partners, and each of them would go with you for 1:40, which I think adds up to 5 minutes. It does. Okay? And their purpose is to push you further than you can push yourself, to take you out of your comfort zone. Okay? And here, again, is where the coach comes into play. A good coach pushes you further than you can push yourself. You can push yourself quite hard, but you still need someone who can push you just that little bit over the line. And the second thing the coach does is protect you from yourself, because in MMA, you can easily get yourself injured, and then there's no fight, and then there's no point, okay? So the coach treads that line and keeps the balance in place, okay? Making sure you're pushed hard, but not too hard. And I didn't have that. So 4 weeks into the training camp, I'm getting fitter. My weight is where it should be, and my sparring is going quite well. And I get a phone call from the promoter. Your opponent's pulled out. At this time, I had sold so many tickets to my friends, my family, everyone at work, because, oh, Simon in accounts, he does MMA. I can't believe that, we've got to go see him. So I'm focused on the fact that I'm fighting, I'm focused on all these tickets, and now I haven't got an opponent. And the promoter says, don't worry, leave it with me. Okay, carry on, get another phone call, we've got so-and-so for you. Great, take it. Can you see the problem? I didn't know anything about this guy. I didn't know what type of fighter he was. I just knew I was going to fight. And again, that's where the coach comes in, because the coach would say, hang on a minute, tell us more. Yes, no, whatever, okay? I didn't. Bravado about me, I can beat anyone. So I take the fight. Forward, you can see where this is going, can't you? Forward to the fight day. And you go and you get weighed in, and then you do probably one of the most stressful things you can do, and that's a stare down. Okay, so this is usually the first time you actually set physical eyes on your opponent. And I always tell my guys when they do the stare down, you plant your feet and you look through your opponent. You don't look at them, you look through them. It's like you're looking into their soul and you're looking to see what they're all about. And you can see what's behind their eyes, and you can see that self-doubt, and you're imposing your will. That's what you should do. Pause for effect. In walks my opponent, and I think, fucking hell. He's massive. He's got an entourage. He's got corporate sponsorship. And there's me in my tracksuit with my mates behind me, and we're doing a stare down, and I'm like, you're a big boy. Okay, so warning signals were there. So then the stare down finished, and you have this quite period where before the fight night starts, and there's a few hours in all fairness, and you've got to go and chill out, and then it comes time to warm up and psych yourself up. Okay, and this is really important now, how you put yourself into state. I used to do it back then and not really know about it, but I went to see Tony Robbins last year, and now I understand exactly what I was doing. So there's 3 things you need to do to put yourself in the right state of mind, or your emotional state of cycling up. And the first thing is what you're doing with your body, okay? So if I'm standing like this, you can tell from my body I've got no energy, I look sad and depressed or something like that. Whereas if I'm standing upright like this, that's a whole different physiology, okay? So when I'm getting myself ready and into state, I'm moving around and my hands are up, okay? And I'm practicing and I'm shadow boxing, and it's sort of like a bit of a meditation. I'm not really sure what's going on around me. I'm just keeping myself moving. And the second thing comes in, and that is what you're focusing on, okay? And again, this is the same in business. What are you focusing on? If you have a problem, are you focusing on the problem, or are you focusing on what the outcome should be from that problem, okay? So in this case, when I'm focusing on my bout, I should be focusing on, right, I'm going to set him up with this, I'm going to go for the takedown, I'm going to be looking for that. This could happen, that could happen. But all of these things going through your mind, that's what you should be focusing on. And the last thing is your language, what you're using in your head, okay? The words that you use should be positive, yeah? They should be things. And for me, I had a trigger words, which was switch on. And I click my fingers, switch on. My wife goes nuts because I'm trying to put myself into a state. She's like, you're clicking your fingers again. But I'm there, and I'm focusing, and switch on. Switch on. You got this, okay? And that puts me in a state. It sort of puts me in a state now, not that I'm going to start trying to do anything now. But that's how you get yourself into state, and you can do that in business. So before I come and do my foresight, I'm standing how I need to stand. I'm focusing on giving the best foresight I can give. The self-talk is, you got this, Simon, you can do this, Simon. You can use that in any situation. It's really important. Back to the story, because I know you're dying to hear how this happens, how this works out. So, the next part, again, is probably equally as stressful and bizarre, and that's the cage walk, okay? So you stand backstage, everything goes quiet, they call your name, your music comes up, and you got to walk to the cage, which is about 30 feet. It feels like miles, okay? And I know the difference between when I'm in state and when I'm out of state. When you're in state, you take that walk, and it's like this big tunnel, and you can't hear anyone. And you know what I'm talking about. You focus on the cage and you get in there and you're on. This time, I'm walking out, I can hear the crowd. I'm a bit like that. I'm probably not showing it because your nerves don't show, but inside I'm like this. And I can hear it to this day, this guy, as I'm halfway down doing my Salford March. Unlucky, Simon! And I thought, brilliant, fabulous. Get into the cage and I see my opponent, and I kid you not, he looks like Mike Tyson's evil twin. Built like a brick shit house. Now I'm athletic and thin, but I'm built basically like a normal guy. He's like, I'm like, okay, you got this. And the fight starts. Now, what I found out within seconds, this guy is what we call a mugger. Mike Tyson used to be a mugger, okay? That is someone who comes on really, really strong out of the gate and tries to take you out in the first few minutes, okay? And they put everything into it, okay? And there's ways to deal with those if you know it's coming. The problem is, if you go that intensely straight out the gate, you don't last very long and you've got the rest of the fight. So the general strategy would be something about weathering the storm. So you don't meet force with force. You move around, okay? You let him get tired, okay? You might do rope dope or just dope in my case. But anyway, I haven't done my preparation, so I don't know that. Now, I remember being hit, and then I remember the referee standing over me like this. I remember my wife being in the crowd going, and from the canvas I went, I'm all right. She wasn't very happy with me afterwards. So I'd lost the fight, okay? And can you think what is the most painful part about losing a fight? Being hit. Because it's not being hit. Right. It's not the bloody nose. That's the pride. It's the whole emotional embarrassment. And you cannot lose more publicly than that. And I'm thinking, everyone I work with's out there. But a few days later, after stop sulking, you start to think about what you did wrong. Because really speaking, a loss isn't a loss as long as you learn the lessons from it. That's what I believe anyway. So let's look at that. Apart from being punched in the face too much, what are my lessons here? Preparation. Yeah? If we'd looked at his record, we would know that this guy is a mugger. This guy comes on really, really strong. We could change our strategy. If we looked at his record, we would have seen quite a lot of semi-professional bouts, and we'd be thinking, this guy's probably turning pro, as he did about 2 fights later. Me, amateur to semi-pro, him, semi-pro to pro. Next thing, the coach. If any of my guys were matched up against a similar opponent, we wouldn't have taken that fight. Okay, that is the importance of the coach. It protects you from yourself. Okay, so the subtitle of my foresight is Business Lessons Learned from Being Punched in the Face. So I'm just going to close on 4 things. The first thing is the skill set. The skill set in business. What I see as an accountant is lots of people come in and they have this one thing that they're really good at, and that's what they're going to build their business. Great, but you're also the business owner and you need to be aware of the other skills you need, sort of sales, marketing, purchases, HR, accounts maybe. Okay? Do what you're good at, but you need to master the basics. And you also have the opportunity that I didn't have doing MMA, and that's outsourcing. Imagine outsourcing. I can't do this fight. I can pay you £16 an hour. Can you be it? Would have been wonderful. But outsourcing, go and find the people with that expertise and give it to them. The second thing, preparation. In business, everyone you meet, you should not necessarily be doing business with. You've got to do your preparation or your due diligence, okay? Is there a match there? Okay? The third thing for me, coaching. Who in your business is your coach? And it doesn't have to be a business coach, although there are great business coaches, and I agree with you guys. I think one of the things that's made me get to where I am is my business coach. Who's the person who can protect you from yourself? Because a wine bottle can't read its own label. Who's that person who's going to say, actually, I don't think this works? Or get off your arse, you need to go push yourself forward. And finally, I got back to work on the Monday, and yeah, I got roasted. Everyone was taking the mick out of me, you know, and that's just the way it goes. However, practically everybody finished their sentence with, at least you got in and had a go. As a business person, at least you got in and had a go and you gave it your all. Yeah? There are 99% of people sitting there thinking, oh, I'll start my business one day. You guys are here and you're doing it. So business owners, congratulations, well done. At least you're having a go. Thank you very much.
Smile, be chat, join for networking.